Hey guys, so I'm going to tell you how I told my family that I was pregnant. The first person that I told was my sister, and it didn't go exactly how I expected it to. Me and my sister had always been close, and I thought that it would be one of those things, that my sister would be my biggest supporter, because that's how we've always been. We're always each other's number one fan. I never expected her to react the way that she did. So when I told my sister, we were at a restaurant, and it was right after her birthday, actually, and it was me, her, and her boyfriend. And she's been with the same guy for the last 6 years, so he's kind of been integrated well into our family, and I like him, trust him. So I told them both at the same time, and I started off telling them, that I wasn't going away to college, and that decision wasn't finalized yet. It was just kind of up in the air because I just found out I was pregnant, and I wasn't really sure what to do, or what I was going to do, or what I needed to do, or wanted to do, really. So basically, we're sitting there eating, and, I told her that I was thinking about not going, because she asked me the question of if I was, getting nervous about getting ready to leave here soon, and told her I was thinking about not going, and she asked me why not. And, I kind of sat there for a few minutes debating about how to say it, what to say. Should I say it right now? Should I wait? Should I keep it a secret? What should I do? And I decided to just say it. I'm pregnant. That's why I'm not going. So I told her, and she was pretty surprised, but at the same time, she said that she kind of knew that that was what I was going to say. And, they were both pretty calm about it. Jeff was really supportive, and Katie was just kind of skeptical, I guess you could say, at first, and kind of ooh about it. So after I told my sister, I told my aunt, and I called her on the phone to talk to her about things. And this was my mom's sister, and one of my aunts I've always been pretty close with, and I've really always liked her and trusted her. And I told her I was really scared to tell my mother. Earlier on, like throughout high school, my mom had always told me, if I got pregnant, I'm out, blah blah blah, be careful, don't get pregnant, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. And it's not necessarily just, a mother's biggest fear, I guess. Her encouraging me to not be sexually active, or if I was, to be careful about it, came from her own experiences of being young and becoming a parent. So, I told my aunt, and my aunt had promised, not tell my mom, to keep it a secret, and my aunt was, not exactly thrilled about it, but at the same time, she was supportive. And so, after I told my aunt, my sister, me and Sam were making plans of when and how to tell our parents, but at the same time, we were still in a stage of just taking pregnancy tests at home, and weren't really sure. But at that point, we were probably up to 6 or 7 positive tests, and by that point, once you've taken that many of them, and in all honesty, once you take, I think, in my opinion, one, you should already have any confirmation that you need. But I hadn't been to a doctor yet, and I didn't have health insurance at the time, so I knew that I couldn't afford to go to an OBGYN, and I was trying to get health insurance. So we were still kind of waiting for a confirmation that I was indeed pregnant before we told our parents, because we didn't want to say we're pregnant and then wind up not being pregnant. So we were waiting, and as you know, Sam kind of wound up having to spill the beans to his parents. Our plan was, once we got confirmation, we would go to each set of parents and tell them together, the both of us. not make, me go tell my mom, my dad by myself, and him go tell his parents by himself. We wanted to do it together. Well, that didn't work out, as you know. So, his parents already knew, and I decided, well, I probably need to talk to my mom. So I told my mom before I told my dad, and I told my mom late one night after she got off work. We were sitting outside, and telling my mom was the hardest. It was worse than telling my dad, than telling anyone on the list that I was pregnant. My mom was extremely disappointed in me, as she should have been. She was very angry. There was a lot of screaming. There was a lot of fighting. There was name calling. It was very ugly, and it was very hard to have my mom be so upset at me, and it was especially extremely hard to have my mom to tell me to get an abortion and to try to convince me that that is what I should do. I should have an abortion and not even have the baby. And I was very appalled at that, and I was very shocked that my mother was telling me that. I knew my mom was going to be mad, but at the same time I thought my mom was going to be one of the most understanding people that I had to tell, just for the simple fact of she was a teen mom herself. She was even younger than me when she got pregnant and had my oldest brother. I was out of high school. She was a sophomore, so we had a few years of age difference, and I really thought, that my mom would be more considerate about how it felt and would remember it and stuff. And I was wrong about that, especially in the beginning. I was so wrong. Mom was just so angry, and oh gosh, the things that she said about Sam, and she didn't necessarily name call me. She pointed the finger at him, that it was all his fault, which it wasn't. And I told Mom, well, if you want me to, I'll go inside and I'll pack my bag tonight and I'll be gone within an hour. And I got lucky, and my mom did let me stay, and eventually things have gotten better between us. But becoming pregnant as a teenager, and the choice that we made to not only carry through with the pregnancy but to keep our baby, really put a divider between me and members of my family. There have been, throughout the pregnancy, there have been different rocky patches with not only my mom but my aunt and my sister. It's been one thing after the other, and there was a lot of people who were disappointed in me and angry. I didn't have to tell one of my brothers. My sister told him for me. The other brother, the oldest one, I told him myself, and I actually told him in Kroger's. And he told me that he already knew, he'd already figured it out, because I was, by that point, I think I was 3 or 4 months pregnant when I told my oldest brother, Hubert, and he said he'd already figured it out, what was going on and stuff. I told my dad after I had confirmation, and after I dropped out of Carson Newman and got into community college instead. And my sister was with me. We drove up to see my dad, and me and my dad went into the bedroom, and we were sitting on the bed, and I just told him, Dad, I'm pregnant. And my dad didn't cry, he didn't yell at me. I expected my dad to have the worst reaction of them all, and my dad was very calm, and really all he said was, we've talked about this, and that every choice you make has a consequence, and told me that this was my consequence for the choices that I made. And so basically telling my dad was in ways really easy because he was very calm about it. He didn't blow up like I thought he would. Didn't say anything about Sam, he just asked me, well, what are you gonna do? Telling my dad's side of the family was a lot different. I did not tell anyone. I hid my pregnancy from my dad's side of the family for months because I was just so scared of the criticism that I would get. Me and Sam went to my aunt's house for Thanksgiving, and at that point I was like 20 weeks pregnant, so it was definitely starting to show. And I tried my darndest to hide my belly from my family because I planned on revealing the fact that we were pregnant, but at the same time it was a bad time to reveal it. And the reason it was a bad time is we just found out we were having a girl, but we'd also just gotten the bad news that she had a marker for a spinal defect, and that we were going to have to go to a specialist for more testing to determine, the risk factor involved for her and for me with this pregnancy, and to make a decision, based on how severe her condition would be, will be, is, was, whatever, whether to continue or to abort. So it was a really bad time. It wasn't a good time at all to tell my family. It didn't feel like. So I waited a few weeks, and when I told everyone, I put it on Facebook, which is really not a good way to do it. It was really, a coward way. And next time around, I would definitely never do that. I don't recommend telling your family over Facebook or a text message or any, social media. It really is not very considerate to them, really. And it doesn't really help your situation.
Becoming pregnant as a teenager changed the relationship that I had with pretty much every single member of my family. Me and my mom, me and my sister, me and my dad, me and my brother, me and my aunt. Pretty much everything changed. And in some ways, things changed for the better. And in some ways, things are not necessarily bad between us now, but they are not the same as they were before, and they're not exactly right. People in my family don't always agree with the fact that I decided to continue my pregnancy and not abort. They don't always necessarily agree with the fact that we chose to keep our daughter and not adopt. The bottom line is, though, regardless of any of the decisions that were made and will be made, I love my family.